If you're a brand new Vanguard player just getting into the game, this might just be the best start deck you could pick. Welcome folks, it finally released in Europe a week ago or so. The 6th start deck for Overdress, Minae Mirei Sealed Blaze Maiden, featuring Dragon Empire. So yes, this is the second Dragon Empire start deck, and it released originally on December 22nd, so it's been almost a month, but in Europe this got delayed because of New Year's and Christmas holidays. However, this was sent in to me by the kind folks over at Parkage, and of course if you want to pick up one of your own, you can head over to parkage.com and also get a 5% discount at checkout by using my discount code DifferentFight. So do give them a look. Thank you once again to Parkage for sponsoring today's video. So as I was saying in the intro, this is honestly probably the best start deck that has released so far, just because like we've seen people take the start deck upgraded with like some basic Dragon Empire cards all the way to top 4 of some of the most like highest competitive events in this format. So let's get it open. I've already opened the Japanese one, and I've also made a video on how you should upgrade this deck too, so if you want to see what kind of like, you know, cheap upgrades you can make to it before set 4 releases, which is where all the support for this deck is, then you can check that out and you will find out more about it. So it's a very beautiful start deck overall. I'm really glad it's finally out. This will probably become my next main as well. Don't mind all the tape on my knife. As you can see, all I use this knife for is cutting open packages. But we can see here on the box, of course, we have Mirei, the character from Vanguard Overdress Season 2. She's amazing. Honestly, this deck, everything about Season 2 is amazing. I talk about it a lot. And then over here we have, of course, the Dragon Empire logo, as well as on this side. And on the back, of course, the 2 new mechanics introduced with Overdress, which are the Ride deck and the Overtrigger. And of course, here you see a full list of the cards inside. And you can see that you get all these staples and the cards you need at 3 or 4 copies. So you only really need to buy one of these start decks. Like, that's the great thing. These start decks retail for $4, and on top of that you don't need to pick up multiples, which is very, very kind by Bushrod. So it opens at the top like this. You just open up the flaps and we can pull everything out. It actually comes with more than last time too, because this time around it comes with a first guide, which we did not have last time around, so that's very, very cool. It also comes with a playmat, which it did come with last time as well, but this playmat is actually extended, and what I mean by that you will see very soon that it now has space. You can see here for basically more space on the Vanguard circle to put your weapons on, so that's also very nice. The back of it also comes with a little manga on how to learn how to play the game, drawn by Quilly, which is really cool, and so you can check that out. I'm not gonna spoil the whole thing, but it's all basically on the back of the playmat, which is very, very sick. And then the first guide also comes with the basic kind of instructions on how to play the game and like what every card does and what they stand for. So it's also very nice that they include this on top of everything. Then we have this little paper protection that we can remove, and we have the actual deck here in a nice little plastic. So let's take it out and take a look at what is inside, because this product once again is really, really good. Like, this is an amazing start deck. I'm really glad I finally have the English version too, because I really enjoy playing this deck even without set 4. And of course I will have a video coming up on how to upgrade this deck in set 4 with the new cards that will release there as well. So let's zoom in and take a look. So of course the main grade 3 Sealed Blaze Maiden buff Sagara. So her mechanic is arms, and basically what that is equipping weapons to her left and right arms. And so that is really, really cool. That's something I asked for when they first announced Overdress. You know, I would love a deck that is based on, you know, just like equipping stuff to your Vanguard. And I wasn't sure if it'd be possible, you know, because Vanguard's never really done that kind of thing before, but looks like it is. So every time she's armed, which you can do only once per turn, unless an effect specifies otherwise, you soul charge 1, which is nice, and you also get to revive a great one unless from your drop, right? So that's really, really cool, because the soul charge is also big, but the revive is very nice because you get to just keep recalling stuff you guard with or stuff that your opponent takes out. And then on top of that, she has a second skill that says if she's armed with 2 or more cards, which is the maximum that you can have. Actually, I'll put them aside like this, right? I think we'll zoom in a little bit more and we'll just talk from above like this. So if she's armed with 2 or more cards, you can soul blast 2 and then retire all of your opponent's front row rear guards, and she gets a critical. So she funds the soul by her first skill when you arm her, and on top of that she wipes out the front row, which is really, really strong, and gets a critical. So she does so many things. Like, she revives, wipes out units, at least 2 at a time, right? Or I guess at least 1 at a time. But then she also gets a crit. Like, she does a lot, and the weapons do even more. So we actually get 1 copy in foil, and then 3 more copies on top of that in non-foil, for you to do the Persona Ride, which of course is the mechanic that when you ride the same card over itself, you get plus 10k to your front row and also get to draw an extra card. So really nice. You know, you get full 4 copies from just 1 deck, which is really, really good. Then we have the grade 2 of the ride line, which is the Halibadara. So Halibadara says when it's placed on Vanguard Circle by riding from Seal Blaze Dragon Namokar, which is the grade 1, you can choose an arms from your drop and put it into your hand. So you can basically discard an arms for the ride deck and then bring it back into your hand immediately. And as a rear guard, it also gets plus 5k if your Vanguard is armed with even one card, which is also very nice. So that's very, very cool. We'll take a look at the arms later as well. So we get what, 4 copies? Yes, we have 4 copies of Halibadara. So this is the grade 2 that you put in your ride deck for this deck. So that is also very, very important. And so good that we have that here as well. Let me put everything aside. Then we have the grade 1 Namokar. So Namokar says when you ride it over Ahimsa, which is the grade 1, you can soul blast 1 and search your deck for either a Prithvi, which is a sword, or a Swayambhu, which is the shield. Now reveal it, add it to your hand shelf of your deck. So that's very nice. You get a plus immediately just from riding, and this also comes in the deck as a 4 of. So you can see here, this will go into your ride deck, but it's also pretty nice rear because in Rearguard Circle, when he attacks, he gets plus 2k power. So it's also a nice card to be quite aggressive with from the early game. And then we get one of the starter, which is the Ahimsa. So you do have to run this starter because, of course, the grade 1 needs to ride over it to actually search you the weapon, and you always want to be searching the weapon. So the grade 0 is just the usual when rode upon if you win second draw card, but it's still a very nice card. Then we have 3 copies of the Ulsanra. So I think you can run this as a 3 of for the time being, like 2 or 3 of I think is fine. So when it's placed on Rearguard Circle, you can count almost 1 and choose an arms from your drop and put it into your hand. So this way, if you like, if you used up the sword, which does go to drop zone after you use its effect, then you can bring it back into your hand and equip it again next turn, which is also very, very good. So that's a 3 of. And then we have the kind of replaceables, let's say. So we have 4 of the, only 3 of the vanilla, the Elec Blow Dragon. So this is just a 10k vanilla with 5k shield, so it doesn't really do anything, so you do want to take it out. But then we have a grade 1 that does do something, which we have as a 3 of. So this is the Shirunga. So when it boosts, you can discard an arms to draw cards. So it helps you filter. It's pretty nice for just a start deck, but of course it's also, something you can take out for better grade 1s as well. And it's not a bad grade 1 to revive either. It comes with 4 Perfect Guards. These are the basic Perfect Guards. You do want to upgrade these with the ones in the start deck, but even if you don't, they're still, amazing Perfect Guards. It's just great that, a product for $4 can come with 4 PGs. For someone that's been playing the game since the start, sometimes that's a little bit unbelievable, right? So 4 PGs, very good. Then of course we come with 1 over trigger, which is the Olbadia. So this is the, of course, once per deck over trigger that has the additional effect to give another unit 100 million when it's checked, on top of the 100 million it already gives when it's checked offensively and defensively. And then we get the remaining triggers. So we have 4 criticals. This is like a Nux Spark Dragon, but with the reminder text of what this does. So this did not have that reminder text in DBT01, which is kind of nice. We have the draw trigger, the Steel de Lofos. So this, of course, also has the reminder text of what the draw trigger does, which is, again, kind of cool to see. 3 front triggers. So you do want to play 8 criticals in this deck, but the 3 fronts are definitely nice as well. Jirengoku is, will give front row plus 10k when you check it. And finally, the 4 heal triggers, which are the Parasolas. So kind of surprised it didn't do any, any special triggers for Bavsagara. I feel like they could have done some nice Blaze Maidens that connected with Bavsagara's art, but I guess they wanted to focus on the weapons with that. So that's the 4 heals. And now we get into the cool part. So this is the weapons, right? So you get 4 copies of Prithvi. So Prithvi is the sword, and it's generally the weapon that you want to equip second. So on your turn 4. So it says, right deity arms, sealed Blaze Maiden Bavsagara. So it can only go on Bavsagara's right hand, basically. And you'll notice that, as a person, this is your right hand, but when you're facing, into someone, then it looks like it's their left, right? So it goes on her left side, but it's right deity arms. So after being played as an order, the specified Vanguard arms it, and if a new right deity arms is armed, you put this card into the drop. And then of course you play this by soul blasting 1. So basically soul blast 1 and then you put it next to Bavsagara. So the way it looks when you're playing the game is you're gonna have Bavsagara here, and then this will basically go here, and you see the art actually connects. So that's how you know that you put it up right, is if the art, her wing basically connects properly. So that's kind of how it works. This is how the armament looks when you're playing, but of course to save space on playmat, some people just put them like this as well, just so they're still visible but they're not exactly taking up too much space. Let's bring it back the other copies here. So yeah, you play it by paying soul blast 1, and then when the unit armed with this card attacks, the armed unit gets plus 10k, so Bavsagara immediately goes to 23, and at the end of that battle, if your opponent's damage zone has 4 or less cards, you can counterblast 2 and put this card from, being armed to the drop in order to give your opponent's Vanguard 1 damage. So even if they perfect guard your Vanguard's attack, you can use this effect to deal a damage to your opponent's Vanguard. And as we saw in the anime, you know, Mirei basically used the effect and like the sword kind of like goes into Bruce and breaks, and that's kind of how the damage is shown. So it's a very cool card, it's a very strong card, and you always want a mulligan for it. I've explained the deck quite in detail in my deck profile, so make sure you check that out. But this will be your most important one that you'll definitely want to run as a 4 of in the actual deck as well, so do keep that in mind. And the second type of arms order is of course going to be the shield, which is the Swayambu. So Swayambu, you only need to play 1 copy, honestly, unless you really want to be like filtering away your arms. Then some people play more, but basically this is the left duty arm, so it goes on the right side of Buff Sagara, and you play it by countermusting 1, and then it says Vanguard circle once per turn. When the unit armed with this card is attacked, then that armed unit gets +10k until the end of that battle. So basically during any battle during your opponent's turn, you can choose to use this, but only once per turn. So some new players I know ask like, oh, does that mean I have to use it during the first battle that my opponent attacks? It's like, no. When a once per turn ability activates, you always have a choice to not resolve it until you fulfill that timing again later. So you can choose to not use this on the first battle and then use it when your opponent attacks on like their third battle or something else where you feel like you need that 10k shield. So it's basically like a free 10k shield every turn, which is really, really impressive and just very, very good. So now let's take a look at how Buff Sagara looks when we line up all of the orders. All right, so there we go. There is the full art, the beautiful, beautiful full art across 3 cards. And of course, there's new weapons in set 4 as well. There's a spear that allows you to equip 2 arms per turn. As you can see, they're normally once per turn. And there's also a gun that lets you gain drive checks that equips on this side, so you do lose a shield, so keep that in mind. But yeah, so that's the Buff Sagara start deck. It's a very, very good product that I do recommend you guys pick up. And of course, once again, thank you to Parkish for sponsoring today's video. You can pick one up on their website if you want to. Other than that though, that's gonna be it for me today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you check out the deck profile if you haven't already to see how this deck looks right now in the English meta. And of course, there'll also be a deck profile and updates video for set 4 when this deck gets its proper updates in that set. But anyway guys, that's gonna be it for me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.